Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody, wherever in the world. It's Zwift Games, Zwift Games Community Racing Stage number 1. I'm Nathan Guerra, and Dave Towle is next to me for this stage number 1 coverage. We'll be here on Mondays for sure. We'll see what we can do for you for the rest of the Zwift Games community races as well. But Loop de Loop, brand new course, never seen before on Zwift Community Live. The riders have gotten out on course. Dave, quick thoughts as they are heading through the S's right now in the Amen with 120 starters, 311 starters in the B's, 372 in the C's, and I think it was like 400 or something in the D's. It's crazy. This is like some of the biggest racing I've ever seen. May the odds be in your favor if you can beat these guys, but this is going to be interesting. Dave, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if they say, is it a numbers game? I hope not, because, man, the numbers are absolutely bananas. It's so cool to see that Zwift Games has really been embraced like this, Nathan. Got to say, great job to you and the rest of the crew with the broadcast this weekend. You worked a lot of hours, a ton of great racing. And since now we're into Zwift community mode, Nathan, can I give a shout out to a few of our community riders that really stepped up? How about good old Tiffany Penner? Right? She showed up in Zwift community. She's in Manitoba, got on Zwift. Really, I mean, Nathan, she showed up a few months ago on our radar, racing in the Americas, super cool person, this coalition rider, and then ends up with this, getting into that final 10. I realized that she didn't win the whole thing, but Elise Gallegos, that was incredible. So a lot of the riders that we're familiar with here had gone on to do great things in the Zwift Games, and there's a lot more to look forward to. And I think truly one of our champions is KK for sure, and it was great seeing her. It's such a amazing,
lot of stories in the top 10,
stories.
Dave. Like so many stories in the top, and stories of heartbreak that didn't make the top 10 in both the men's and the women's side of things. It's going to be really great next couple of weeks, looking back, looking forward here to what's happening with the Zwift Games. But now the riders that are in the community out on course here, Dave, let's go right down into the action. They have taken on the S's in the A category. We will be covering across all of the categories as we finish up each of these races out here. But we saw Michael Podzaline actually off the front for just a moment. See if I can get a replay. Right from the get-go, he did what he usually does, Dave, and that is make the race hard right from the get-go, but was unable to hold on to that gap. They're going to be taking this left-hand turn back into the S's. So what's interesting about this course, Dave, they take the S's on up front. They take that little Italian village, right? And then this is the cutoff that they come back through the sprint bridge and go back up over the S's, which makes this racing like you can, if you get a little bit of a gap out of the S's and then come around and then punch back into them, you can make this racing really, really difficult for everybody else.
Okay, so loop to loop, if you weren't watching this weekend, as Nathan said, first time we've ever seen it here on Zwift Community Live, and they saw it this weekend for the first time just worldwide. There's an attack going, so I want to focus on this. It's 12, let's call it just under 13K of racing out here, and this is going to be Michael again. Big hit out right now. And Nathan, let's see who's going to respond. It looks like Joe Choitek is here. Choitek going to try to get up there. He's going to get some help from Levesque, the Italian rider. So Nathan, this is going to be instigating, and really go ahead. If you watch this plot line, it's going to be very, very intense. Yeah, you're going to be holding on to the rails here as Podzaline Michael. This is the man out of Yale, Connecticut. He has really taken this sport seriously over the last year, and he's going to have company. So this is blowing up at the front, Nathan. Let's talk quickly about this course specifically. They raced 3 courses. We'll be working through that over the course of the month with this group. But Nathan, talk to me about, in a few words, what was it? Was it patience? Was it aggression? Or is it just a crapshoot on how you're successful on this course?
What was interesting in the racing with the men, it was a little bit more aggressive like we are seeing here. We eventually did see Severa over the weekend get away. But Dave, I think without $10,000 on the line or $7,000 on the day, the riders are a little bit more like, we're just going for GC. Let's go. I think perhaps, when that much is on the line there over the weekend, there was a lot more negative racing and watching, because whether or not you got through to the top 30, you definitely didn't want to risk too much. Whereas Podsy here, and the rest of these riders, they can take a little bit more risk to just try and win on the day. There's not quite as much on the line to get through. There's nothing to get through on. You're just going to be whether or not you're in the top spots when it comes to the overall GC standings. Now, speaking of the GC standings, though, Dave, we do have some of those here, and we can take a quick look at the A category for the GC standings as it stands with the top 10 and their time so far. Right now, JJ Muella and Osbey there, 32-14. So you're looking at those low 32s is what they're going to be shooting for if they're going to be able to take this on.
So, Nathan, just to kind of clear things for everybody, these riders now aren't obviously in this race. The way that think ZRacing, but we're adding in Zwift Games this month. So over the course of the month, they'll do the same 5 races that the elite athletes did this weekend. They did the first 3 in a block. They're calling that sprint, and then you might need a splint when it's all done, but they're calling this one sprint. Then there's epic and climb, which are just one standalone event. But this weekend, they did 3 back, and as Nathan said, they went from 60 to 30 to 10. Not the case today. So it's a little bit different, Nathan, in exactly what you're talking about, where we're kind of merging the traditional Z-Racing month-long GC concept with, do you know what a mulligan is, Nathan? Is that in
I
your
know
world?
someone with the last name Mulligan, but
okay,
so
it's a golf
I
shot,
do know,
though,
but when isn't Mulligan also used in poker?
Oh, I don't know, but I do know that it's like sort of like in professional golf, you don't take a mulligan, but if you're out with your buddies, right, Nathan, and the first drive that I take flops 10 feet off the driver, and then you
can reset it. Okay, okay. So in Hearthstone, the video game Hearthstone, they call it a mulligan up front when you get your 3 cards or 4 cards, and then you can select new ones if you don't want them. So that's the same concept. It's like, oh yeah, that didn't work out. It's not exactly what I wanted, so I'm going to select new ones off of this.
Or even though you could do a mulligan and end up worse, I guess. Right,
yeah,
but in this case,
that's
for
the
us,
idea.
right. But in general, here, obviously, you go out, you do your time, and if you feel like that group today wasn't hustling, or the dynamics of the race, it just wasn't a fast race. Well, typically for us, Nathan, we've seen, not always, but a lot of times, this group has been the fastest, but not right now. To tell you the truth, if you look at, they're not strung out. They're thinking about a sprint today.
Yeah, it's interesting here, but Dave, I think this first time over the top of this King of the Mountain, it's going to be absolutely bonkers. 800 watts from Taft from the get-go. Kaboom, now trying to hang on, it looks like. But Dave, so much free speed here from behind. The reality of the way that you can come into this, you can get a lot of free mileage out of that first little roundabout there. And you see that from a couple other riders, I think, who know exactly that, as Kaboom now comes over the top. Pods the line, though, experienced racer. And here, Dave, those who are super smart about this, I think they're going to hang in amongst the top 10 to 20 to make sure that they don't get dropped. If a couple will get away, I have a feeling, they're going to have to work pretty hard against a group like this. Now, this may be the first time, though, in Z Racing or in our Monday racing crew here in Zwift Games, we may have the kind of level that we do see a splintered group off the front. We'll see what happens, though. It's going to be a tough one.
Well, it's going to be, you're right, Nathan. It's right on the line up there. Now, there are a lot of the usual suspects are riding up on the front. A name that we're starting to get used to here is Schlittmann as well. The German rider is absolutely going to be an impact racer. But the depth of this field, look at this now. It's got to be a couple hundred meters from the snake's head back to the end of the rattlesnake's tail there. And it's right on cue. Schlittmann to the front, driving things now. And I don't know, Nathan, that you're 100% correct, but I don't know that this is going to split this group. We are really motivated. Coming into the sweet spot of right now, Zwift Games was just timed perfectly. There's James Young, well positioned. I like the Turkish rider Ozbey's chances today, Nathan. So as we take some inventory up on the front of this group, Kirkfield is there. That's dangerous. That's ominous, isn't it, Nathan? When you see that the Dragon is riding up in the top 10 riders, that's right where he wants to be here. Let's talk about Brian O'Brien.
Yeah, ESRT rider. He's been on the radar a lot as of lately. Anytime you see ESRT, be on the watch out. I do know that his teammate Mossop has made it up into the A category. I wonder how that's going for him at this point. We've got Bauer here as well, also from the ESRT team. Be on the watch out for ESRT with a couple of riders here at the front end of this race. This is going to be Jan Bauer now. But these guys look like monsters on the bike. I feel like we should be in like a TT mode. I mean, this kind of a course, though, definitely suits a rider that's a little bit more of a ruler as well. I mean, a 2-minute punch, you can, if you really give it a go, can get rid of somebody. But Dave, with this strong downhill, I mean, this is essentially a long, drawn-out downhill with a really steep descent on the back end of it. With all of that, it's going to be really difficult to break things up too much.
Nathan, I loved your commentary. I really did this weekend. And the double kick came up. And, that's a technique. How about this? We talked about downhills being the new uphill. There's going to become an element of a double kick downhill effort at some point as the sophistication just goes off the charts. I love what JC is all about. This is Joe Choidak that we're looking at now. The American who is absolutely rising in the ranks here. As you can see, Draft PowerUp being deployed is moving to the front as Kirkfield. He's one of the, I think it's 3, it might be 4 riders, Nathan, that can make more than 15 watts per kilo for 15 seconds. So in that rarefied air of the super sprinters in this group. But again, it comes down to so much more than that, especially watch that women's final in Glasgow. And you can see how sophisticated the techniques are. John Verm, Nathan, John Verm riding in. He's a guy that we saw, I believe it was last week as we wrapped up Race Like a Champ with ZRacing, where he was definitely throwing windmills out there.
Can they break 32, Dave? How long is it going to take for them to get over to this lap banner? They'll come through a lot quicker on the lap banner, this one too. So is this lap going to be faster than the last lap? Because at this moment right here, we're still faster. But what do they got to do here? They got to do about a 31. This. Yeah, about a 31. And can it happen, I wonder? It's going to be interesting to see if they can beat that time of 32:14 that we currently have on the board. That's going to be super interesting here. Now, it has separated a little bit, hasn't it, Dave? We started with 120 starters, and we definitely have a split off the back. 11 seconds off the back here now at this point, it looks like. Going to be a chase here from Fultrum. Carson trying to hang on the back here, coming out of Australia, but this is going to be the chase group. And Dave, this is a solid chase group, actually. I mean, they could bring it back if they're really motivated, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like they're struggling, and on the front, it's all guns blazing still.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised, Nathan, if we were to put a freeze frame moment here that our GC winner at the end of the month might just be in this group. Nice to see Scott Mossop riding in the draft here. So he should be recharging a little bit. This is massively important ultimately throughout this month, what's happening right here, right now. So that's lap 1 done. I feel like this is a really motivated group, Nathan, that seems to be coming over the top. A lot of guys putting their nose in the wind. Look at these names. Podzelin, Kirkfield, Taff, the Welsh rider, Nathan, certainly inserting himself into the conversation here. So, yeah, I have a feeling that this was the right choice to be in this group here today, Nathan.
I'm seeing some comments coming on through over at chat. Teppo Lorio, the legend, taking 3rd place this weekend in the men's Zwift Games. Who would have saw that coming? Talk about a crazy dark horse. I mean, right? I mean, that was amazing. And, I got to say, not to take anything away from Teppo in any way whatsoever, but, man, the Zwift craft with this guy was just on point. Him and Liz Van Halen, I got to call out. I watched things back quite a few times. And the raw power versus the Zwift craft got those positioned in a lot of ways. I mean, especially in the LVH situation. And then with Teppo, his positioning, his double kick, everything was absolutely on point to get him to that 3rd place. Beat out some of the strongest riders in the world because he is one of the strongest riders as well when it comes to a kick like that. But his timing was on point. It was a masterclass. And
it coming from you, a huge compliment, Nathan. When you think about it, though, I mean, Teppo's a level 100 Zwifter. He's been passionate about esports. He's a huge part of this community. I mean, I truly think that he's the king of Zwift, even though, that ride from Kaminsky, and I agree with Alex on that technique that was used there, the just unbelievable understanding of how this game works, to tell you the truth, and the ability to back it up, making the power. But back to the action in front of us right now, this is going to be a big one. Towle has been phenomenal today. Javen positioning himself well.
Look at John. Oh,
can you help me here? What's going on?
What is going on? I don't know. He's eating a baguette. I'm pretty sure.
That's what I needed help with, so I wasn't sure what that was.
He's got a couple of bottles under his arm. I mean, if we were gonna call him what they call him in Europe, bidons under his arm, and then
a bidon,
bidon, and then he has his shoes. He's hanging. He's not. What is going on? This is so good.
Oh man. Well, it's fun. Oh boy, how about Mika Soderstrom as well? I mean, some of the things that we saw here out of Sweden were super impressive across the board.
There were a lot of Swedes in chat too. There was a lot of Swedes hanging out and cheering them on. Oh well, we're gonna just go hang out with these guys over here. It looks like. Let's go find Pods Line.
Hey, thanks for letting me. Thanks for letting me celebrate this weekend with you a little bit here today, Nathan, because that was, just truly, truly awesome to watch. So here we go. Now, it is different out here. So we are in the format of Zwift Games, but we also love what ZRacing has been about. So this GC battle, this is your front group. These are the A's. There have been other A's that raced. Nathan showed the times that they need to be. I didn't jot it down, Nathan. It was 32 flat. Is that right?
32-14, I believe. I'll just double check for you here. And we can also bring in the B category in a moment as well. Those riders are making their way around on course. They're a pretty good ways behind here, which is kind of nice that we have a little bit longer of a race because we do get a little bit more separation between them so we can give some extra coverage. Bob's your uncle has been off the front. What is that flag for Bob's your uncle is another question that I need to ask.
Oh, wow.
But do you know what that flag is? I don't
I'm
actually
looking it up. Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm on my laptop because I'm still in Arizona. I did Belgian waffle ride.
Oh, you poor
have
guy.
about 8,000.
Oh man, it must be horrible.
Yeah, it's tough. I have the Whitney Post sending you hugs. Michael Sweet. The list actually goes on, and I'll get to that. But boy, you were missed out here. That's for sure. Bob's your uncle, the saying, right? Is that familiar to you, Nathan? Have you heard that from Anna? Because it's from New Zealand.
I've heard that one. Is it from New Zealand? Is that right? I didn't know that part.
I think. Okay. That's what I associate it with, is New Zealanders. It very much feels like their sense of humor as well. It's like, that's what you do. You put the lid on the top, you twist it, and there you go. Bob's your uncle, right? So how about Joe Choidek here? He was a national team member. That was a big deal
Chasing
to make
down
that
Noah
national
Levesque.
team.
Yeah, interesting to see, to try and bring that back. I know Noah is
It
here.
looks like they just made contact.
Just getting back on terms with him. Noah's probably going to want to try and just continue on like this to try and make it as hard as he possibly can for everybody, because I think in a sprint he's not going to have the power to go up against a lot of these riders. So Levesque here continuing on, keeping the pace really high for the overall times at this point. I know, we'll just leave it at that. Good for Noah here getting a workout.
You know that saying, Nathan, shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you end up with the stars, right? I think that's really true for this group today. If these guys want to keep coming over the top and pushing the pace, because it's not a disruptive chase that you're seeing. It's guys just racing hard. So this benefits the entire group out here, the way they're racing. So by going over the top and pushing and seeing what happens, you're not really hurting anything, to tell you the truth. At the end of the day, you want to get a good time with this group. And what is it selected down to? Are we even talking about 35 guys in this group now? Probably not.
Let's see here. Yeah, I think we've got about 35.
Right.
35. You're right. That was a good call there.
Okay.
35. Carson, this rider's been off the back over and over again, just hanging on with these little kicks. This has been interesting here from H. Carson. 201 beats per minute. I wonder, is he just
That's
suffering away
sign.
here and
Yeah.
off the back and coming back on? And I mean, I really wonder
the
what's
kind of
happening
guy
with this
that-
rider.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy, Nathan, that I would want to hire as an employee because he's got a lot good work ethic, that's for sure. But right now, this feels like someone really, really fighting here. And that's, to me, the most impressive racer on your screen is the one that doesn't give up, right? It's Hamish Carson that we're looking at. He's Australian. And I'm impressed, no doubt. But at 50 kilograms here, him being, and he looks, I mean,
Younger. He looks
tell
like he
with the
looks
helmet and
younger.
glasses.
He
He
does
looks
look
young,
younger.
is what I was
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
say. Yep. And that's why he's also, I think, 50 kilograms is, I'm guessing. There's no point in guessing, is there? But I have a feeling that this is a junior rider that is really doing an impressive job. This might be the ride of the day. And you say heart rate at 200. Well, if he's 16, that's really not that crazy.
Yeah,
it's not crazy at all.
Good on
actually.
Hamish here. I'm liking what I'm
Yeah.
seeing from him, and you know the reality of what he's having to put out here to hang on with this crew is probably absolutely insane. Just
That's nuts,
hanging on to the back here. So good on Hamish now as the Australian rider hanging in with the top seeds here, top 35, I would say, of the Zwift Games community crew. Now they're starting to look at each other here, Dave. This is not going to bode well for their overall now as they start thinking about who's going to win.
It's interesting. This is where, as a top respected rider, you need to lead by example and go up there and take a good hard pull. And when you're done, expect another guy to come through. And if not, that's when it gets frustrating. Kind of, this is one of those moments, right?
And if not, well, that's when it just gets frustrating.
That's when you need to figure out what your next move is, because it's not going the way you want it. Isn't that bike racing, basically? You want to keep it going the way you want to keep it going. When it's not going your way, you try to change it back to the way you want to keep it going, you know?
That's true. 100% true. And, speaking of that, I think that there's different ways to race. With the ZRacing and the Zwift Games, I think it's a little bit different with the reality of how it's a GC time. They can all work together a little bit. But, we saw that over the weekend as well. I mean, Emma Belforth, she made it go the way that she wanted to make it go. Just make the racing really, really, really hard over and over and over and over again. Right. Yeah. And sometimes you can do that. And I think, it'll be interesting to see in the epic racing if people, I think people will be a little more willing, even in the community racing, to be like, look, this is a long race and we can take, you get more landscape to work with and times to recover. So I think,
the one thing though, I would say is that Belforth, Nathan, has played one card she'll never get to play again, that Joker card, right? Like you saw at the Tokyo Olympics in the women's race with Anna, where it's like you can surprise them one time like that. I know she did it twice, but in a couple of hour period. But in the epic race, if she attacks, you
she'll
have
be so
to cover.
covered. Yeah, nobody's letting her go. No, there's no way. No way.
Which now, so she's got the biggest target on Watopia on her back. Look at this action right now. Gunjonsson, Nathan, is the SRT rider that
He's
will
going
win, but they're
backwards
pressing hard.
fast. I
Yeah.
think he's just done. What happened? Whoa. Oh, Carl.
I feel like. So, yeah, and you never know. Like maybe all of a sudden a coyote is howling outside his pain cave. He's distracted or something.
I think he was trying to give it a go, and then it was just like, that's enough. It's over. I'm good. I'm good. This is insane. Kaboom!
And when you pull the pin on a 3% grade, it's pretty evident that you've pulled the pin.
Yeah.
Because you very quickly leave that group. Here we go. Look at this.
Jean Rock as well. Everybody is just blowing up. Jean Rock says, forget it. I'm not going with this.
Look at Takagawa right now, Nathan, as this is going to create a little bit of a gap. Let's see here. The finish line should be, was it 26K that we're looking at for when they hit the line? So we still got 5K.
Who is it? What's going on with this guy?
That's cool. I don't know what that says, but I'm impressed.
I hope it's cool. I hope it's not bad.
Oh boy.
I hope it's not like something like I have no idea what that says. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that. But,
we assume it's positive.
Yeah, we just assume it's positive. We hope. John Reich.
I feel like that's how wars have started, by misinterpreting a signal like that. So no. This is Jaros Sumbike that we're with, another rider that we've gotten to know, I'd say, through the ZRacing series. This has been a fun time slot.
Yeah, this is the raver. This is the European dance party guy.
Cool dude, clearly.
He's got watts across his face and they glow. I mean, couldn't get much more Zwifty than that. As I
love our community. Nathan, there's a really interesting, diverse swath of folks that we get to meet through here. And I have a feeling Cedric might be a fun one to party with.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh.
Whoa, Volker over the top.
Yikes.
Sheesh. Now, there's a gap, it looks like. Chodic's able to hold on. Jean Verme is here. Brian is here. You know, the riders who are a little bit more savvy, I think, to sit in and try and make sure that they just kind of wait this out, because some of these powers are insane, and they're being smart to the reality that this might be coming back together, or using some of the insane power that's out there to be involved in the sprint still. I would say Verme is there with that. I would say Joseph Chudik is there with that. Schleitman as well.
Dale Seaton, Nathan. Dale Seaton make this front group? I know it's a little hard to
I'm looking through here. I don't think Seaton. Oh, yeah, there is Dale. Yep.
Yeah, watch out. 18 watts per kilo. 18.2 to be precise, as Joe Choidik sitting on 16. This is just data that has been. It certainly doesn't mean that, boy, Nathan, it would be interesting to see if you just went straight down the middle every time and looked at the watts per kilo in 15 seconds and saw how successful is the top power producer on paper versus in actuality in sprinting. I think that'd be a fascinating analysis to look at. How oftentimes does the top 10 mirror what they have on the books already?
That's a good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get exactly what you mean.
So, but yeah, I'm not here to ask questions. I'm here to get people stoked up, man, because here we go. Finale time. As this is really now, Nathan, where this is where the real estate, the runway starts to run out on a late race attack. If you want to channel your inner Zach Neer, this is where you think about launching.
Or Vidar Mail as well. Did you see Vidar?
Good point.
I couldn't believe what he pulled off still after a breakaway attack to win the race outright. And then I think he was top 5 in the sprint, the second sprint, and then second overall on the day, winning the group sprint after Kaminsky's off the front. Vidar Mail is on a whole. He's back. That's what it is. He's backed off of his endurance racing because he was doing some sort of world record setting. I don't even know, like 24-hour racing or something, or it was some sort of insane racing.
Riding to the North Pole or something.
It was an official, like 24-hour endurance thing or some sort of like major endurance event. I can't remember exactly which one it was that you have to train literally your whole life for. And
look at this attack, Nathan. Look at this attack. I want to catch this.
Martin. Yeah, okay, good call. Sorry, I'm all over the place here.
Oh, no. You usually have to do that for me, but I was going to say that's kind of serious right here, as we're down to less than 2K to go. He's going to open up a gap, but it looks like the rules of life, the dynamics of that peloton.
I don't know here. 800 watts all day long. Yeah.
It's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
Houston,
I don't know. I mean,
he's
95 kilograms, but still, like, even at that, this is just. I apologize, Takigawa, that like maybe there's a misunderstanding of how things work. You know that at that point this doesn't exist in the world. It just doesn't that I know of. So a couple of riders, maybe let's get our setups looked at here. But Joseph Chudik trying to come through for the sprint finish. It's going to be Kirchfield coming over the top. Chudik just unable to hang on. I think it was going to be Jean Verme. I couldn't get the exact images there. Wow. But I think Jean Verme came through for the pack, I believe. I'll see if I can get a replay.
Which might be sprint proper, to tell you the truth, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, here's a good way to put it. Winning the field sprint at the front of the race was John Verm out there.
I think Verm got it. I couldn't quite catch that last.
Yeah,
week.
that's.
But
Well, you know what? At least we have the bees. The bees will be coming in hot here, Nathan. We'll have a chance to go back and take a look at the results. But I appreciate this is the last few meters as we look at Joe leading in this field sprint. I was looking around for Kirkfield, to tell you the truth at this point.
He was there. I thought he was going to get it. I really did. But John Verm, look at Verm come through with that speed, and I was going to click up to him, but I think he got it there. I was just off the screen there. I'm pretty sure Verm got the field sprint. We'll take a look at that in just a moment here. But back in with the B category.
Nathan, when you were talking about Vidar and John, really, I would say they've been racing in a kind of a parallel trajectory through the years. These are guys that have been with you in esports since the beginning. More or less, I say that a little bit of a question mark in my voice. But Nathan,
Vidar is
Vidar's
pretty close. Yeah. So Vidar is about as close to old school, not quite like
without being an
Lino
OG,
Viasen.
he's a second wave.
He's close. Second wave.
Right.
I mean, pretty close. I'm pretty sure. Now, I might be wrong about that either, and he might be mad at me for even saying this because he may have also been around in beta. He didn't show up on the scene though, like in the same way as far as OG, like way back goes. Like when we're talking, some of these guys have been around from when there weren't even events in game. You know, like we're talking way.
He's
back.
He's one of the guys, Nathan, that like when COVID hit and events really blew up, he's been in every Zwift Grand Prix. He's been involved in all of the old Zwift classics. He's been one of the guys that has probably as many kilometers raced at the high end as any of the top riders. That's 100%. For sure.
Look at this attack here this is a good attack actually. Kaminsky style, but on a different descent. I like what I'm seeing here. 66 kilometers per hour. He's going to get chased down by Frisk. This is going to keep the speeds extremely high all the way to the line. Great on these B category riders. I'm liking what I'm seeing. They understood the assignment when it comes to how you carry speed through and make sure that the pack has to respond really early. Snowy now trying to come through. Frisk is fully committed here at 62 kilometers per hour. I'm not sure he's going to get caught because eventually the extra speed does run out for the pack, but now another kick's coming on through, and I think it's going to happen here for Snowy. 13, 14 watts per kilogram. The dirt rider here, but he's going to be challenged now. Rigby. Oh, watch out for Skylab. He's always got an extra match or two. It's going to be no Bowen at the line. I think that oh my gosh, the timing from Bowen, so good.
That meet the new boss. It's the same as the old boss. Is Ned Bowen notching that belt one more time? Way to go, Ned. That's a strong.
That was really cool, actually. I really liked that sprint. Like Frisk on the front going, look at how fast you go backwards if you just didn't time it correctly. Snowy with 14. Look at where Bowen was at. Look at the timing from Ned Bowen. Perfect.
Boy. I'm looking at the power from Ned too. But he really, you don't do any better than that. That is threading the needle.
Yeah, I
Great
really,
job, Ned.
I would let, if I can get a top-down look at that eventually. I mean, that was so well played. I really got to say, nicely done. C category, I'm going to fly in with 222nd place. We'll see if we can find the front end. This is going to be Ate, Tri-Team Fultado.
How about the fact that we started 370 riders in our C group? I've never seen a number in the 300s, to be honest. I'm sure you have, Nathan. But for me, that's a whole new rarefied air, as they say. Have you ever seen 370 in a ZRacing race?
That's a good question. 370 in a Z.
This is like Eric Mims' Thanksgiving Day, right?
We may have seen. I mean, that's a lot. This is totally
so this is just tells you
blown
that people
apart, though. Look at this. At the front, it's full gas. And I think we found the absolute front now at this point. We do have a couple of off the front who are probably just getting in, so they haven't hit their category limits at this point. Now, with a lot of new riders, everybody, you don't necessarily have the category limits totally set for. I mean, a lot of people jumping in like, what's this Zwift Games all about? And they're going to get their limits set up. So a lot of times this is the place where that happens, which welcome to racing. But Zone off the front here. Maybe going to get an upgrade. Doing 4.2 watts per kilogram, and good for him on the upgrade.
All right, so you've got to know this finale well over the last few days. We're down to it here. It's workable. A 6-second gap.
I think they're going to bring him back, honestly.
I do too, but at least you got something to play with here.
Yeah.
Rabbit in the hair.
Osborne Armory Cycling here. No, this is going to be interesting. Look at the spread. There's people. This is like a Grand Fondo.
Just going to say that. I was literally going to say that as my next phrase. It's like that's
now in Grand Fondos you get situations where like you have to cross the course and like watch out, get out! Oh my gosh, there's still people coming the other way. Like you get that in some of the gravel
like a
racing
figure
too.
8 demolition derby kind of thing.
Well, in gravel racing you go down, or in Leadville when you're going down and they're coming up, and you're like, don't come on this side. Sure. They're coming down at 100 miles per hour.
There's a famous incident of Ryan Trebone riding straight into another rider going on the course the other way. They were both in their own lane, but that course tape isn't going to stop a rider from going through it. He hit an ice rut, went flying into 2 riders, smashing straight into each other.
Did he break a leg or something? I thought at that.
Yeah, he did.
I remember that.
Yeah. That was in Kansas City in 2008, and it was frozen ruts. It wasn't anyone's fault, but that was when they started saying, okay, you can't run the course back against itself. There has to be a gap there between so that can't happen.
Here comes the
Not a problem on Zwift.
Is he going to hold up 7 seconds? Yeah, it's true. That's very true. Here we go, Dave. Is he going to hold on? I don't know. I think he's going to do it. He's just going to do it.
Rajon.
Right
here.
To the line.
Well, congratulations.
Makes it happen. It's going to be the next rider is going to be ugly. Then it's going to be Ardo. I believe Hatfield may have got the better of him. Hatfield may have got the better of him. That's the C category. But newer rider, Rajon, going to be the rider that does just hang on. Most likely, I think, going to be getting an upgrade as he's averaging some pretty high watts per kilogram. That field behind there with the C category, there's probably a lot of upgrades, honestly. And what's really cool, though, one of the things I got to highlight is that Zwift Games is getting thousands upon thousands of riders into racing at this time of year in March, Dave. I mean, it's the best thing
that's ever happened for us.
Like, seriously, like how many riders are out here racing right now in March going into their spring for cycling? It's pretty cool to see.
I met 2 people who'd never raced on Zwift this weekend at BWR that are racing today. They got it all figured out.
Really?
Good job, lawyer Dan. Yep. I just got a text from him saying he's out there racing. He's going to do it later. But that's a good point.
I should have joined this race. We would have found him.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So, and he rode Belgian Waffle Ride it was 103 miles of basically single track, and he did it in like 7 hours. So that's really good. You should see Keegan Swenson flying right now. That guy's the best American cyclist. He's in the conversation, even though he's not a World Tour rider. What he's doing is going to be something that will stay in the record books forever. This is Renkema. So we're back in now with our Ds here. And this is a rider we're familiar with. You don't forget the Fro.
Oh, a little bit over the top here. D category racing now taking off. It's going to be Wick now. Wick Vesteras making a move. What's cool about this one is that we can actually feature them a little bit here. And this is going to be Emil Wick, mountain biker. Look at this. She is, I'm assuming, but junior woman. What is that plate on the front coming out of Sweden? So it must be some sort of, I'm assuming here, but I think this is a junior rider. Mountain bike.
You don't want to race her, Nathan. She'll put you under pressure.
Really? Good to see. Level 25 out here rocking amongst this D category. I'm loving this.
Me too. This D group, how big? 246. So we're going to be looking. This is the first time that I would have ever thought we would have talked about just this block, this time zone of racing was getting close to 1,000 racers out here today, adding the A's, B's, C's, and D's. That's really mind-blowing. So I am so happy, going back to what you're saying, that Zwift Games turned out to have this incredible ripple effect getting so many folks their attention and sparking their interest and getting them out racing. So, as you said, welcome.
Riding for VCK, Vestera CK Riders. I'm not sure. It's all Swedish. Victor Wick, Eric Wick, Emil Wick. So I'm assuming that's going to be a family, is what I'm thinking. Victor
Sounds
Jr., like Eric a veteran, Emil Jr. as well. So I'm thinking that's going to be a dad and a couple of kiddos that are racing out on Zwift with some friends. Erica Danielson is also out there for the Rave team, but joining up with the Vestera CK. So this is really cool. I'm liking what I'm seeing here from this team. Very cool, cycling family / team coming out of Sweden, I think.
Right on, Emil. So young people out riding on Zwift is extremely cool to see. It's not easy, that's for sure. Zwift is flat out not easy to begin with, and it has nothing to do with your age, but generally for smaller riders, it's just the challenge is there, and we're seeing Emil punching above his weight there. So okay, this is going to be not so slim that we're with. This is the front group, Nathan.
Is this him? This is our buddy. Mr. Greedy?
Oh, yeah.
No, he changed it this week. He changed it. I love it.
But in the same family.
The Mr. Man has shown up again. Oh my gosh. Everybody, this is the weekly D category. And he's kicking off the front just for us. Look, everybody.
Perfect timing.
Every week we need chat to figure out which Mr. Man has been given to us in
Who
the
was
image.
It last week?
It
just
was
to bring
Mr. Greedy.
people up to speed.
It was the guy with the big
Mr.
tummy
Greedy.
because
That's
he's
right.
greedy, so he eats all everyone's food. Mr. Greedy. Who's this? Mr. Scary? Mr. Afraid?
Mr. Shocked. Yeah,
like,
that's
who
funny.
is this one? Help us out, everybody.
All
Find
right.
it in chat. Let us know, and we will highlight it. But you better get it right because I'm gonna highlight it. So you better yeah. Come on, chat. Help
Through
us
the
out
years,
here.
the Ds have brought us so much good vibe and humor to Zwift. There's no doubt that's just another one of a million examples of how we keep it fun. But here we go, Nathan. I know that this is going to be fun. You're going to have to dig deep here now as we're into the final 2K of racing. This front group is clearly champing at the bit. It looks like we're going to have a reduced group sprint. So we started with 246. We're down to this, and it looks like attacks are launching out of the group, trying to surf that wave and using that draft power up. And this is gonna be dangerous.
Michael now on the kick. It looks like it's gonna be Michael O'Riordan now.
O'Riordan, Nathan, good Irishman, right here with the draft power up.
I don't know though, Dave. Can he hold on to the line and get the W down on the kick? But I don't think so. The speed is there from ST.
Feeling.
I think ST now coming over the top, and he's gonna come over the top. Oh, Dave, it's that moment. The moment that it just doesn't quite work out because out of nowhere it's gonna be Renkima out of the Netherlands.
Oh. Man, fear the fro, as good old Rasan Bahati used to say. He does it. The rider you started with, Nathan. So the Dutch rider there, man.
The Renkima, the no-image rider. It's so cool.
Yep.
You can't even
and
see
no
him.
Gas. Yep. And he's the virtual ghost has gone into an actual ghost for him on his avatar. But actually, this is a group that we've gotten to know well through ZRacing here on Mondays. Nathan, when you look at the numbers growing, and I'm not kidding myself, I realize that Zwift Games has a huge part of why these numbers are increasing like this. But some of these fields are almost double what we've seen in the past. Certainly double what they were going back to a year ago. But these numbers growing, watching Zwift Community Live have we gone over 14,000?
Oh, we're so close, everybody. Subscribers.
Yep.
Everybody, we are so close to 14,000.
Come on.
We're like we're right on the edge. All we need is just a little bit of a bump, and we will get there. So definitely, hit
Just
that
go and hit
subscribe
the
button.
button.
Just go hit the subscribe button because we are this close right there. And then we got new goals. I think that we'll celebrate. We might not make a post and celebrate maybe we will 14, but 15 is like the next one after that. And then
Huge.
it's, that's absolutely huge. But first goals, first things first, let's hit that 14,000. Let's get the results going here, Dave. Now, the Zwift Games here, I really got to say, it's got new energy coming into March. I think we're starting to set up this March calendar, mark it on your calendar. In the same way, like you were at an event this weekend, BWR, and was that the kickoff for BWR? Or was there one prior to that?
It was.
It was, wasn't it?
No, it was. There's a Triple Crown. We'll go to Utah next month and then California. And then I'm also staying here because Cactus Cup is coming up, Specialized Cactus Cup, which is 3 days of racing. So I remember exactly a year ago at this time, Nathan, it was a kind of a little depressing because we were ramping down and, the energy was shifting out of the intensity from Zwift Grand Prix.
Yeah. There is definitely
this year,
a feeling of things not quite it's just not being there.
Copacetic.
Being there.
Yeah. And now it's like I'm actually feeling so much excitement on many different levels. And one of the things I love is like when we're not on the air, that there's so many projects popping and things to look forward to. And there's many partners of yours that the potential for new fun things to do using Zwift platform are tremendous and only growing right now. So it's a good time to have hope and stoke and this community. To tell you the truth, Nathan, and I want you to hear this, is that you get a ton of credit for helping build something special. And now it's kind of like you're watching it. It's got its momentum. And now you feel like it's a phase beyond where we started. Now this community is established.
I agree with
it's nice,
that.
isn't it?
No, sorry, that sigh here is for some reason I think
it's
the
been
Zwift
a
Games
journey.
Results are set up in some sort of way where they're like the only results I can't pull.
Wow, because we have an issue. Because
no,
this
I'm
is
not kidding.
the most important results that we do.
No, like the top 30. We promised the top 30, and
we always promise. We've been held.
I don't know
the,
what's going on here. Like, let's say, like here, like I can bring in the DBR, which is 15 minutes after this one, and I can bring in literally another one that started at the same time. There's the results
I'm
for
not leaving.
the Team KST.
I'm staying on air until we get these results.
But for some reason, Zwift Games, I think it has something. I don't know. Maybe it's like a copy over from the Elite Racing, and the Elite Racing doesn't show up the same way. But I can't even pull in the event information either, like from our event stuff. So I think it's not going to be. Oh man, everybody, I am sorry.
Oh, boy.
I know. This is
not,
like what everybody shows up for. And I wanted to see whether or not they beat the time too. Maybe I can see it on Zwift Power though. That's at least.
So
we might go old school.
They did.
We'll have to go old school. We'll just go old school, everybody. Right. This is what we'll do, and we'll just show a desktop because that's what we got. So here we go.
So it is.
But that is how it is.
This is our undying commitment to reading the top 30.
This is, yeah, exactly. You just have to look at my desktop. Sorry, everybody, it's a mess.
I was going to come by your house and read them to you outside of your front door if this didn't work. So, all right, here we go. Thank you, Nathan, for persevering. You're the real champion.
Well, we're just making sure we're not showing anything we're not supposed to. Okay, here we go. And there it is. So, boy. Yamaguchi averaging 539 watts. I'm not sure that is going to... That's about as... I think this is as good as we can get. Maybe here. Is that
That'll
okay?
Do. That works.
Do?
That helps a ton. Thank you. Let me just start working through them as we usually do. I will move my camera thing. So, okay, I'm going to read it as it is. This may be adapted. Yamaguchi Tokugawa on top of the table. Noah Levesque for second. John Verm for third today. Kirkfield in fourth. It's Gökhan Özbey for fifth. Dale Seaton in sixth today. Brian O'Brien for seventh. Joe Choi. Brian had that late race attack, so it's nice to see he held on for a top 7 spot. Joe Choidak in for eighth today. Peter West in ninth. Cedric Jean-Roch in 10th, James Young 11th, Lucas Schlittmann in 12th. It's Ian Dogman for 13th, and Alexandra Lemaire in 14th. Thanks, Nathan. In 15th place today is Michael Podzoline, Brandon Martin for 16th. Hamish, you got Rider of the Day in my book. Hamish Carson in 17th, Samuel Merrily in 18th, Niklas Lanz in 19th, Scott Mossop in 20th, Toms Pierre Jean in 21st, 22nd to Giovanni Nucera, 23rd to Christian Sorensen, Bruno Dreen in 24th, Chris Burkhart 25th, Sam Moreau in 26th. That's going to have Raffaella Bonucci in 27th, Julian Hotias in 28th, R. Thomas 29th, and Andy Raw rounding out our top 30th. Steve James and Matthew Collins.
Ooh,
you're on screen,
sneaking in. We're sneaking in.
Top 32 bonus.
Bonus. Old school gets you a bonus, everybody. Oh, man.
Top 32 bonus. I'm just extra.
Top 32 bonus. Okay, I wasn't going to do a whole lot of replays today, but this one was just too good to, not do something with, honestly. The Ned Bowen feature here, where was he even? Now, we're going backwards here for a second. Frisk was on Nathan, the attack. He's
30 riders back. That's where I would start looking.
Is he really? 30, that's crazy.
Well, I mean, okay, let's just
you're
look
right.
It's an all red.
You're right. He's nowhere. He's nowhere even to be seen on the rider list nearby yet. Still nothing. Still nothing. Where is he?
Waiting.
Where is he?
Waiting.
And now probably kicking now. When does he even come into screen?
So he surfs through this entire. There he is.
There, all of a sudden,
right there.
Bam! Bowen shows up, left-hand side of of the pack, top of the screen.
He's got a visor on, which
That's
is crazy.
why. That's why. It's the visor. It's the visor. I mean, man, that
speed
timing.
Visor for the win. Look at that. Yeah, I even love how he ducks his head as he posts it up the line.
Now, every sprint is different nowadays. Every sprint is different nowadays because of the way the pack dynamics work. And this one specifically, it seems to me that timing is just where it's at, what he did there. I mean, and also I guess the field matters though too. I mean, but that was that speed that came through there. That doesn't always work nowadays. You got to really time it, and they have to slow down on the front. If there's too many on the front, you can't fight your way through at that pure speed because the speeds are just too high. But Bowen, amongst this crew, made it happen. 3.8 watts per kilogram too, Dave. That's the lowest amongst the crew. Right here, Snowy has 3.8, Pearson 3.8. We're seeing Maxime Ducote also 3.8. So, I mean, it wasn't like it was insanely lower than everybody else. But yeah, nice job by Bowen.
Good Swiftcraft, though.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's really noteworthy. That the efficiency is a big part of it. Great job, Ned. So there he is on top of the table for the draft team. It's going to be Simon Rigby in for. Is that Isle of Man flag there? Yep. It's so small on my laptop, 100%. But I think it is. Yep, Simon Rigby. Yep. Snowy Pruitt in third. Henrik Grusso.
It's going to get tough for you here, Dave, as it's 65.
I know. So I'm going to say, everyone, just to stay on top of it, 5th place for Josh Holton, 6th for David Moyer, 7th for P.A. Pedersen, 8th for Patrick Molinari, 9th for Per Sue, 10th for Nicholas Alkvist, Dan Manalo in 11th, Maxime Turcotte 12th, Pini Levy in 13th, 14th for Christian Bouchard, 15th for Sasha Damro, it's 16th for Stefan Linke, Bryant Kelly for 17th, Carl Johan Berleton in 18th, 19th for Andrew Todd, 20th for Sadra Kafshain. It's 21st for Yannick Euler, Frederick Frisk in, Nathan, 22nd, 23rd for Magnus Hansen, and then I'll just keep rolling with in their places Mark Baker, Snorri Sturluson, Chris Edwardson, Gus Petty, Mark Vermeer, Henry L., and Steve Jukes. You may or may not have gotten a top 32.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks so much.
Sorry, Nathan. I'm apologizing.
No, you're fine.
No,
you're totally fine. You're totally fine. We're making do today with what we've got. Let's jump right down into the C category. Here we go. It was Rajan at the top, as we saw. He was a breakaway rider. It was not caught, almost caught, but with a little lie in there, the German.
when we picked it up, Nathan, I think he had a 6-second gap, and we were relatively dismissive on his chances. I think I gave him credit for trying at that point, and he ended up holding him off, and I'm super proud of him. That's a great job. Martin, let's see here now. So this is going to be the win going to Rahond, silver medal to Martin Edgley, bronze for Dennis Ardloch, and then fourth place today, chocolate medal for Mike Hatfield. Fifth place, I guess you get wood. In fifth, wooden medal for Harold Faste, and then I'm going to get off that theme. Sixth for John Maverick. Seventh for Kevin Osborne. Stein Lid in eighth. Chris Rick for ninth, and then Accelerator, cool name, in 10th. Matthias Lindqvist for 11th. Marcel Kunz, 12th. 13th for David Garcia. 14th for Arne Rilber. 15th for Steve Hall. 16th for Patrick Winder. 17th for Thirone. 18th for Vitor Riviero. 19th for Bez Gibbs. And 20th for Jake Goldsworthy. 21st for Rupert Exum, 22nd for Alex Ross, Mike Lighton, and 23rd today. It's 24th for Ake Sundlin, 25th for Thomas Markuson, 26th for Pete Watkins, 27th for Daniel Lundberg, 28th for Lars Loritzi, 29th for Andreas Sonabo, and today for our C's, it's B. Smith in 30th. Good job, Aaron, Lewis, and Stefan as well.
Jump right down into the D category. LR just holding on, it looked like. Well, actually coming over the top and over the top. That was an interesting one. And to see that Peter Sliva didn't actually take it down this week, that is kind of a little bit unheard of, as that rider tends to be one that is almost unstoppable when it comes to the D category. So nicely done, actually, by LR and Not So Slim, as well as Sam Townsley, as Peter Silva is from NTS is one that usually cannot be beat, I would say.
When you add 50 new, excited, motivated Zwift racers into these fields, it gets harder and harder to get on the podium. That's for sure. Let's run it from the top. The LR for the win, Not So Slim for second, but certainly winning the People's Champion Award today with the awesome work on your avatar. It's Sam Townsley, Sam, in for third today. Peter Sliva for fourth. Alistair Milne in fifth. Neil Aerosmith in sixth. Emil Vic in seventh today. Great
Big
job,
shout out.
Emil.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Emil. She killed it out there. And I hope to see an awesome cycling and mountain biking career in front of her. That's so cool.
I'm gonna say we're not sure of the gender.
To
tell you.
I think
unless you saw female, Nathan, I'm going to be a little careful just because I saw Emil's hair and I get it, but I kind of think that I'm not sure.
Yeah, good call. I thought I did see female.
If you did, right, I apologize.
You're right. I'm actually not seeing. So you're right. My bad.
Yep. Hey, no worries at all. I just, you know how this is in this world, and I don't want Emil to feel weird or anything, right?
Yeah.
So.
And I think you're right, actually.
Yep. So
I think you're right. I'm not seeing female next.
I didn't know how to correct that one. To tell you
just
the truth,
say you're wrong,
I was like,
Nathan.
No, I know, but that's not what we're. But because you're never wrong, Nathan. Come on. But anyways, Emil, we were super stoked by that ride today, for sure. Ebba Magnuson was exceptional, and oh boy, now help me out, Nathan. So Emil probably was 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3,
so
4,
Ebba.
5, 6, 7. 7th place.
Eighth place for Ebba.
Ebba, yep.
Thanks, Nathan. Appreciate you. Henry Ashman for 9th, and then Yelani Deschamps in 10th. It's Zach Audio in 11th. Lar Hayden in 12th. Arto Karhu in 13th. Trond Samslot in 14th. Lars Walter for 15th. Dean Ritchie 16th. Paul Kennedy Roberts in 17th. Ian Hamlet 18th. Neil Runegal 19th, and then Ian Hammond 20th. Ian Robertson, a lot of Ians in 21st. Havard Matberg in 21st. Jenny Griffiths in 22nd. Stephen E. 23rd. Tom Satzinger 24th. Craig Yadamuz in 25th. Jerome Brunand in 26th, Yuri Verlovsum in 27th. 26. I'm sorry. You know what? I'll just run through these. I think we're getting right into the 30th, though. It's Lou Nicholson for in that deep 20s, Michelle Kirkill, and then Ryan S. will round it out. As that's again, the reason we're doing this is because Nathan goes above and beyond. We were unable to access our normal results, so that's why it was a little weird today. But we made a big commitment.
I'm not sure what's going on there. I've never actually seen that before, where I'm able to pull. Well, I've seen it before, but I think there's just a weird setting that I'm not sure was supposed to be on actually when it comes to the setup for these. But the ability for us to pull in the results, it's not exactly something that is on the radar of Zwift, when it comes to the Zwift Games. So, there's probably just a copy and paste over from the official Elite Racing, and then for the event settings. I think that's what happened, and so we'll just make a request that that little tick gets turned off, so next week we have our usual results, everyone. So apologies on that, but we still got through the top 30. We don't have to make another video day.
Oh, thank goodness.
To make sure we fulfill our promises.
But you know what, Nathan? It matters, doesn't it? Because I know we're joking, but we're not joking in a way, because this is serious business to us. Maybe we have a lot of fun. And we always have, and I hope we always do. But we don't want to disappoint. We want to respect, and we certainly want to live up to our commitments. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, having fun with Zwift Racing is serious business. I mean,
yes, that's
right?
the point.
That's the point. It's we're here to have fun with the whole community and get some racing done, get some fitness in, and watch the competition.
A little accountability.
Effort, a little accountability on our part, and then a little bit of accountability with fun shade thrown around once in a while on the community's part as people come up through the racing. And we hope to see all of you in the rest of the Zwift Games for the rest of these stages, and to see you next weekend in the epic race for the Elite Racing as well. We've absolutely loved your interviews. You got a couple of good ones coming up, I think.
Yeah.
What do we got? I think Elise Gallegos, if I'm not incorrect. And in the men's side?
Actually, they shifted. I think Elise was moved to a different project, but I've talked with KK.
Okay, Kristen Kolchinski. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm not sure what order they're coming, though, but there's a really... Mika Soderstrom was another rider that I had
be a good one. She did well this weekend.
Awesome.
She's on fire, for sure. So...
And, Nathan, I think it's important, to recognize how global this sport is. Obviously, we're both in America. And I love the fact now we've reached a whole new plateau where, KK, when I was watching her get all of those ride-ons, I was thinking back to when we first met her back in 2020, and she was racing and figuring it all out. Now she's a big star in the sport. And I always told her, don't forget the little people, KK. When you become a superstar, and she sure hasn't. She's out there working with that the team Virginia Blue Ridge 2024. Yeah. And she's one of these people that okay, there's the public KKUC, but what she does behind the scenes, working with junior athletes, getting them set up on Zwift, and with so much cool energy that the kids relate to her. She's getting them all set up. She's laughing. They're listening to music and dancing.
Really?
It's just what we wanted this to be.
That's good.
This whole thing is exactly what I hoped it would become 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, you and I have been involved with Zwift, you much more intensely than I, for sure, but going back to 2016, I was just the other day realizing I did a Zwift event in Long Beach back in 16. So we're talking about 8 years of this family now. And I mean, Nathan, when you talk about
10-year anniversary. 10-year anniversary is coming up real quick here. Real quick.
I'm so happy you found Zwift and we met through this platform. Good. I suppose we would have found each other at races anyways, man.
That point though about KK, I remember just real quickly, it just brings back to memory the first time we commentated on her, and there were huge question marks over is this real? Who is this spin bike chick? What's going on? Right? And I want you to clip that, whoever's watching, and send that to her. Who is this spin bike chick? What's going on, Chris? And then she's battling it out with Team 2020 at that time, right? It was Team 20, and then I mean, that was
she beat Chloe Dygert.
Yeah,
in the
beat Chloe
sprint, and that's
Dygert.
when I was
Everyone's like eyebrows, like what is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
and
cool.
It was probably, if I hate to say it, Nathan, but I'll speak openly, that if you asked me then, is that real? I probably would have had to say
I had
I
eyebrows out. I had eyebrows up. Yep, for sure. I was like, I don't know. And then bam, she shows up and was the real deal, and now top of the level. And the reason I bring that up is not about her necessarily. It's about her, but that's what we're seeing. Then that's kind of what this is about. Why we do this in Zwift Community Live. It's one point. It's one. How do I say, like, there's a lot of different anchors that we anchor on at ZCL and like our model that we base things off of. And one of those things is discovery of awesome race organizers and awesome racers within those organizations to discover them and push them up through the racing platform and promote them so they feel like they're getting something out of the efforts they're throwing in here and they can be highlighted and discovered that way. It's a total discovery tool.
I know we're kind of going off the topic, but Nathan, I just have to say that when people say Zwift is a discovery tool, well, I think that she would agree, but I would say for sure that Nadia Gontova, who's one of the biggest rising stars right now in North American cycling, she went from a collegiate rower at university in British Columbia to now riding on DNA, which is one of America's big three teams, the biggest teams that are paying salaries to riders, that have professional mechanics and swan airs, that have a real staff and infrastructure, taking riders to Europe and integrating with national teams. So you don't do better than that. And she wouldn't be there. And I'm not saying that Zwift deserves the credit, but Zwift was 100% getting credit from me for being a stepping stone from her, because she would have not found racing like this without esports. Mm-hmm. And you know what else? The ability that was recognized helped, right? She saw that not only do I like doing this, I'm good at it. And maybe I should pursue this. And now she's racing in Europe this week.
Yep, absolutely awesome to see the discovery, and we continue to do so. So make sure to show up if you're looking to get noticed to some of these broadcast races and get involved in Zwift Games, etc. Any of the racing that is out there. And there's plenty of other stuff that we aren't broadcasting that you can get involved in to get noticed. So I do want to let you know, Teppy, we will be mailing you the results. They at the end of this. No, that's not happening. I mean, oh man! If we can't get them, they'll be coming in the mail. Everybody, fill out the form. No, not happening. Hey, everybody! Thanks a lot for tuning in. For this week, it's a little bit quieter. Besides the Zwift Games on the weekends, we'll be looking to perhaps highlight some of the other Zwift Games racing that is happening for the month. But outside of that, we will see you on Wednesday night for the podcast to talk about everything that's been going on, as well as over on Zwift's main channels this next weekend for stage number 2 of the Zwift Games, the Epic Race. Thanks everybody for tuning in. From Dave and I, we really appreciate you. And as always, ride on.